So this inside piece comes out and then creates this frame, and the knockout is also quite pretty, as you can see on this example of how we're going to do the card. So what we're going to start with doing is I've got enough to make 5 cards here, but I'm going to make 1 because, you know, I'm a little nervous about trying things live, but I'm all set up to go. So I'm going to take my cardstock. I'm going to just take out my Score Buddy, which is a workhorse in my studio. This is the simplest little tool, but keeps me very, very sane. So this is by 11, so 5.5 is my halfway mark, I think. Did my math work for me just now? Score that. Yes, it did, ladies and gentlemen. That is what we call a top folding card. All right, going to put that aside for us to work on when we're ready. And I'm going to take this out of my way. Next, what I need is some of this designer paper cut down to fit onto the front of the card. So we're going for a backdrop that will be something pretty to embellish the card with. I'm using my paper cutter to do this. So a card measures, this is an A2 card, measures, let me think, 5.5 by 4.25 is the size of the card once it's folded in half. So we're going for a little margin all the way around our backdrop. So let's see if I can remember the sizes as I go. I'm also keeping cognizant of this printed paper. I don't want it this way. I want it this way. So I'm going to cut this on the long side. So this will be my 5.25. Is that going to be right? No, this is going to be my 4.25. 4.25. And how old is my beautiful paper cutter here? I don't even know, but I love it. So move that bigger piece aside. So my 4.25. Did I do this right, friends? No, I'm way off. What am I thinking here? I think I did 4 and something over there. So 4. Well, you know what we're going to do? We're going to just figure out what our measurements are again. So it's a 4-inch card. 4-inch card. Is that right? My goodness. I'm off my game. So we'll go down to this next size. And let's check it again, because I think now, ta-da, we are correct. And I'm going to check the size again because I feel like my measures are off. 5.5. So I'm going to do 5.25 to fit on the inside of this. Here we go. All right. So that's my backdrop. Should fit nicely with that margin. Yes, it does. We'll put these aside for when I make these up as other cards as well. That's my backdrop. Now, let's get this card looking great. So we're going to pick a sentiment out, and we're going to pick out a little fairy to go with it. And I think we're going to try and start with one of these frames. So I die cut the frame. I've got a back piece here. Now this card, this paper has a little bit, it's not white, it's a bit more gray. So I wanted to coordinate a bit with that. I'm going to look at my frame here and then just get in mind for what I'd like to do with the stamps. So essentially, I'm going to look to be able to stamp that fairy in the corner. And I'm going with this sentiment. Remember, I'll always be here for you. This one looks like it'll fit nicely right down here, and everything will work together. So if I keep those nice and tight, I should do pretty well here. What I'll do is remove the frame, get myself some room, and bring over my stamping, what's this called? This is a MISTI. This is a stamp positioner is what this is called. So to use this, what I'm going to do is get this right into that top corner. I'm going to put a magnet down on it so that the board below is magnetized. Maybe it's metal and this is a magnet. I'm going to remind myself of my frame kind of size here. So that will give me a little bit of a mark. And then I'm going to do this. And if you're just joining me, welcome. My name is Sherry. If we haven't met before, I'm very excited to have the opportunity to be learning how to do these live videos with you. It's not at all intimidating. Okay, it's fairly intimidating, but still, it's good. I'm going to use this stamp close to this corner. Remember, I put this down to give me sort of that margin of where I'm going to be. So I'm going to move that pretty close to that corner. And then I'm going to take that sentiment. Remember, I'll always be here for you. Snuggle that right up next to the stamp. So let's just take a look with our positioner. So that's basically what the fairy is going to look like. And then my sentiment's going right along here. Might look like the stamps are pretty close to each other, but remember I've got some margin here that's not on the stem. So I'll close that door to pick up both of those, pop that back down into the corner, and get ready to do some inking to make this happen. So I've got a beautiful green that coordinates here. This one happens to be called Old Olive. Open that guy up, and let's see, here we're doing. So are you in a summery place today, enjoying this heat that we're having? I am finding it a little warm, but in the best way that an August should be warm, in my opinion. I'm going to use this to just get an even pressure across these stamps that I've inked up. And with that, let's see how it turned out. Oh, actually, that's pretty nice for the first try. I'm going to go a little bit more on the fairy. I don't really need much more on the stem or on the sentiment. So I'm just going to use my pressure kind of up and towards this, and a little extra pressure here with some stamped CPR up at the top. Okay, so you can see that's nice and transferred. Let's just hold up our frame and see how we're doing there. Does that look good? It does. All right, so I'm going to give this a bit of a wave so it can dry. Move my stamping apparatus aside, and we're going to start to assemble the card. Now, I mentioned that the Score Buddy is really a workhorse in my studio, and I'm feeling like this fold can use a little extra work. So I'm going to go again over top of it. There we go. Now, using the bone folder to get just an extra crease. This cardstock that I'm using, it's called Craft, and it is very heavy cardstock, so it takes a bit more muscle, if you will, to get through to that. So starting with this, I'm then going to take the beautiful patterned paper. This is double-sided. Kind of interesting to see the different colors that are on the different side. I'm going to use my double-sided tape, and with that, I'm just going to go around the corners of the paper to give this some nice adhesion. Now, I've got the windows open, and I can hear the lawn crew that has come in my Park Lake neighborhood, which is totally fine by me today because it's just keeping it real. And if you start to hear anything in the background as well that might be like a puppy, I will try and introduce you to my beloved Luigi, who is my 85-pound chocolate lab. Actually, he's a little bit senior now. He's 8, so he's 8 will make you great, they say. And he is lost a little weight in his getting up in his years, because that's healthy for all of us, so I'm told by the vet. And my glue is having a little trouble getting out, so I'm just going to use this pretty tool that I have from Crafts by Kathleen. You can see how my little gems here. So I'm just going to clear out the pipe, so to say, put that back down, and then come again to the back side of the frame with a little bit of the glue. Now, what's cool about this tool that I have the glue in is it sort of makes this a glue gun. So this is like a bottle of glue inside my glue gun, if you will. And when I rest it in its cradle, the glue comes forward to the tip. So basically, I have it ready to rock whenever I'm ready to go. So here we go, very simply, some glue on the back of that frame. I'm going to put it down over top of my stamped cardstock. Once I've got it tacked down a little, I'm going to pick it right up because I've got a bit of float time that will allow me to adhere this really nicely and get my edges good and clean. All right, let's see. Okay, so now we've got this. We've got our back here, and we're going to adhere this to the front. Feeling really good about this color combination. We're going to go ahead, and you'll see what I mean when you hear I'm an over adherer. I would just love to not get so much glue that it's goopy, but after you put in work to make a card absolutely beautiful, you don't want it falling apart on you, friends. So I'm going to do this. Now, I always like to sort of hover and see where I'm going, decide if this is what I want to do. I do like the center setup. I'm sort of a stickler for the way that I think it should be, is nice and linear and symmetrical on either side. So that's what we've got for this one. Remember, I'm always here for you. So that's a nice one there. Now, let's go ahead and do the next one the same sort of way. Or actually, let's do it with the inside part. So let's take remember I said the frame had two pieces. So here we are, the frame's there. So we're taking out this piece and we're going to use this now. So we've got a smaller piece that we're going to stamp on. But first, let's get our background correct. So we'll want that to be 5 1/4. Let's just check that other size here by 4. Move that aside for us and bring back one of these pieces of cardstock. And you know it, that Score Buddy's coming in again. So 5 1/2 is halfway through. Just going to be a little more firm in my pressure this time. I always like to fold towards the hill that I've just made instead of the dent that I've just made. Get that crease nice and strong. And we're just repeating this process here, friends. Something that you can do or something that you can watch me to do. I love, personally, watching YouTube videos as a way of chillaxing and relaxing, my friends. I enjoy so many. Kathy Zilski makes beautiful cards, and I watch hers. Now, she inspires me. I try and do a lot of the things that she does. Gina Kay is another one. Jennifer McGuire is what we all call the greatest of what's a GOAT stand for? Greatest of all time. Greatest of all time. Okay, so we've got another background made. I've got the inside of the frame ready to go. I'm going to stamp on this. So let's move over and get our stamp ready again. Now, I'm going to change up the sentiment that I used. Just move that over for me here. And the fairy stamp that I used. And give my stamp door a little wipe down. Okay, so this one's much tinier. Again, going to go into the corner with this. But remember, this one's not being covered up by the frame this time. This one is going to be on top of the punch-out piece. Let's see if she's even going to fit. I want to check, actually. She's taken up most of the stamp herself. So maybe I will change, but let's see. Oh, no, she's beautiful. And you know what I think I can do? If I bring her down, I might have enough room up top for a sentiment here. So let's see. Now what's interesting is often I will stamp and then cut my paper, but because this one is on such a specific size, I wanted to cut it first so that I would have enough room. Okay, we're going to take her like that, pick her up with the Misty Door, just put that firmly into the corner. Most important time when you're putting your product in your Misty is getting it right when you start and then knowing that you're right nicely in that corner beautifully. Okay, so let's see. We're going to take our ink up our fairy, and close this door and give it some nice pressure to create this beautiful little stamped fairy from Lavinia Stamps. This week I'm going to a Renaissance fair, a market here in my hometown. It's a night market put on by locals who support growing our handmade market and our handmade market and our local artisans. So I'm really excited. There's going to be some food trucks and whatnot as well. And my husband has even rigged up twinkle lights for my little tent because it's a night market that we can do. All right, so here is what I think this is going to look like assembled. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put some three-dimensional pop-ups on the back here. Pop-up is simply, just like it sounds, a two-sided tape, little dimensional foam. So I'll show you on the side here, you can see. So this is going to get some dimensional pop-ups on the back so it stands up and adds a little extra layer. See, on this first card we made, we are flat, which is very nice for mailing, feels really good in the hand, but this is just going to add a little extra something to it. And I feel like she could really use a pretty sentiment up top here but I don't know that I have a short one. I might need a one word. Let me just see if this one's gonna fit. Go with the idea that nothing can stop you. We're gonna try. Yeah, we're gonna try, friends. And if I don't try, I don't know, right? So, using my MISTI, I'm just gonna turn it the other way here. I'm gonna get rid of my fairy that I just used. Wipe my door a sec. Okay, I'm gonna put her up into the top corner again. And I'm gonna put the magnet more central on the mat. And this one, I'm gonna actually reach for an ink that I use that's black, because even though I enjoy the monochromatics of that, I think the legibility on these tiny little letters in this font will be better served with this slightly thinner ink. So let's see how we did. Right in time. Here we go. Go with the idea that nothing can stop you. Now, trick here, go with some light pressure, but keeping it even, because we don't want it to smudge out. Let's see how we did. Yay, that's looking exactly as I wanted it. Okay, moving that aside and coming into our final assembly again. I'm going to, like I said, pop this up here in the bottom corner. I'm going to adhere her right on like that, so it's just a little bit of frame, and you can see all this garden area. Let's go ahead and do that and finish up my second ever live stream. So, you know, it's interesting. YouTube has rules about who can live stream, how many people it goes to, and I am new at this, so this is only the second time I'm doing a live stream, and because of that, I'm not entirely sure who gets access to it. I can set it up so that I'm able to invite guests to come and join me, but frankly, I'm okay doing this, me, myself, and I right now, and Luigi, who's under my desk, because I want to practice and try and see how to do this. So, double-sided tape runner here. Just going to go ahead and put that tape runner around on the frame of the back of our little angel. If you're like me and you get glue everywhere, it's okay. Just don't get it on the front of your card, friends. We'll clean that off. All right. So, here we are. Now, these cards are going to be at that market I was telling you about. It's called the Ren Fair. It's put on by the Guelph Night Market, and I'm so very excited to have the opportunity to be telling people about my YouTube channel, my new adventure. So I'm not selling my cards. Most vendors that are going there are selling their beautiful wares. There's folks that do food and culinary things. This fair actually has a mead, cider, and beer tent. But I am going to tell people about my adventures. So all of my fairy cards are free. I just am wanting people to stop by and have a little chit chat with me so that I can tell them about my adventures. And the way that they can support me when they get home is by going to my YouTube channel and subscribing. So I've made it as easy as I can for them by creating these little QR code stickers that I'm putting on the back of all of my cards. I'll have about 100 that I'm giving out. And this is my favorite. Oh, I want to change that from my gold pen to my black pen, which I think is this one. Yes, it is. So let's try that again. Handmade by Sherry. And this QR code will take them directly to my YouTube channel. And the sticker says this card was made on YouTube. So here we are today making this card. I'm so excited to be learning all these new things and sharing my beautiful craft project with you all. So thank you for coming today to help me create these top folding garden inspired fairy cards. I hope you are having a wonderful day, and I think you should go with the idea that nothing can stop you.